All right, we're live. Sorry for the little change there. Gonna invite Howie and Kelly if they want to come in. We're live. Hey, man.
You doing, John?
Well, I don't need to answer that, do I?
I know. But gotta look. The whole thing is it's still a positive. I mean, not obviously not what's in the report, but
yeah, and I get that, but I mean, I'm not even through the introduction, and I'm fucking livid. So, you know, good. We got some people joining. We had about 10 people. I did that quick broadcast, so I had to create another one to send you the invite. But you're here. I sent Kelly one. I don't know if she'll join us or not, but let me start over for you. Have you read any of this yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't. So
we'll just start over. Maybe I can get you as pissed off as I am. That's my goal.
I'm always pissed off. I'm always pissed off.
That's really not hard. Oh yeah, and your video is live. I gotta put it in your playlist.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right. So introduction. We, the members of this grand jury, need you to hear this. You know, some of you have heard some of it before. Yeah, no shit. There have been other reports about child sex abuse within the Catholic Church, but never on this scale. For many of us, those earlier stories happened someplace else, someplace away. Now we know the truth. It happened everywhere. Okay, so everywhere means everywhere. So not just in Pennsylvania, just like we've been saying, just like we knew. We were given the job of investigating child sex abuse in 6 dioceses. Every diocese in the state except Philadelphia and Altoona, Johnstown, which were the subject of previous grand juries. These 6 dioceses account for 54 of Pennsylvania's 67 counties. We heard the testimony of dozens of witnesses concerning child clergy sex abuse. We subpoenaed and reviewed 500,000 pages of internal diocesan documents. I don't know if I pronounced that right. And I don't care. They contain credible allegations against over 300 predator priests, and at least 100's names are still being protected by the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. Okay, over 1,000 child victims, we were talking about this earlier, were identifiable, okay, from the church's own records. We believe that the real number of children whose records were lost or who were afraid to ever come forward is in the thousands.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people. I've seen people upset about the 1,000 number, and it's like, if you're upset about that number, wonder how you're going to feel about the real number.
Yeah, and then times it 50 states and dioceses. How about that number?
Yeah.
All right, let me see. I'm trying to get where I can see if there's some people in the chat room. So, and you know, I was too pissed off to sit in a chair and read this. I'm like, you know, I just.
well, I mean, we know it's coming. I mean, it's not, you know, it's another one of those things. You know, it's not a surprise, but when you actually, you know, when you actually see it on paper, it obviously, you know, has a different effect.
Harold's here. We got 8 viewers. They're all coming back. So we got 8 people sharing the burden with us, and thank you for that. So in the thousands, numbers in the thousands. This is the grand jury, okay? And it just gets worse from here. Most of the victims were boys, but there were girls too. Some were teens. Many were prepubescent. Many. Okay, so we're talking prepubescent, less than 12 years old.
Yeah, and to me, that's not. Oh, prepubescent. I'm thinking toddlers, but okay.
Yeah, or who knows? I mean, okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, who?
Okay, some were made to masturbate their assailants or were groped by them. Some were raped orally, some vaginally, some anally. But all of them were brushed aside in every part of the state by church leaders who preferred to protect the abusers and their institution above all. As a consequence of this cover-up, and I wish they'd use the right word because it's not a cover-up, it's a criminal conspiracy, okay? Almost every instance of abuse we found is too old to be prosecuted. Oh, what a shame. Well, horseshit. And the only ones that are going to change that are us. Okay, so this is a grand jury. I don't see the as I don't wait on me, but she's listening. So and you've got I don't hear the attorney general saying we're going to get these people prosecuted. But so that's going to be up to us. You know, we talked about some alternatives like the Justice Department doing its job, you know, charging civil rights violations to the individual dioceses, to the individuals on behalf of raped children that have been denied justice due to a criminal conspiracy. That sounds entirely doable and appropriate. So, okay, so here we go. Here's some of our issues. As a consequence of the cover-up / criminal conspiracy, almost every instance of abuse we found is too old to be prosecuted. But that is not to say there are no more predators. This grand jury has issued presentments against a priest in Greenberg Diocese and a priest in Erie Diocese who has been sexually assaulting children within the last decade. We learned of these abusers directly from their diocese, which we hope is a sign the church is finally changing its ways. And there may be more indictments in the future. The investigation continues. I would think, and I hope somewhere in this report, they address the fact that these 300 guys are not on the sex offender registry. Where are they? And, you know, that's something else we can do. We can identify them. We can find out where they are. And we can let the community know who these guys are.
Yeah.
We can be.
Yeah, just as a thing, I talked to a friend of mine. He works for a paper in central Pennsylvania, and he said a lot of these cases, the actual cases against the priest, were already well known. So it wasn't as though this grand jury investigation exposed priests that weren't already, you know, out there. He said what it did do was it's more about the cover up. So, but all these 300 priests, they were already. I mean, this wasn't like they uncovered this stuff. They were just basically maybe like bringing it to light.
And here's an idea. If people are mad, what you can do. Hold on for a second. Got to do my multitasking thing here. Yeah, if you're pissed about this report, there's a lot of things we can do, and this is one of them. Let me show you what what that might be. Hold on. Come on. No.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, hi, Liz. No, that's not what I wanted. All right, hold on. Hi, guys. All right. Where is it? Wait a minute. Okay, here. I got it. Hold on for 1 second here. I got to do my multitasking thing. All right. Here's if this pisses you off, you can do something like this.
Pizzagate is real. Pizzagate is real. The Catholic Church has been sexually abusing children, tens of thousands of them for decades. Yeah, don't touch me, okay? Pizzagate is real. Oh, you want to manhandle me? No. You want to manhandle me? You want to manhandle me? Yeah? Yeah? Get your fucking hands off me. Get your fucking hands off me. Get your hands off me. Get out of the church. I'm going out of the church. I'm going out of the church. Get out of the church. Yeah,
okay. So there's an idea. I'm astounded at your language in church, Howie.
Well, whoa. I didn't start cursing until I got pushed out to a secondary.
That was satire, I think.
Oh, okay, all right. No. I got a friend of mine who I was talking with at the time. I mean, I was laughing at myself. I was actually trying to be like respectful. That's why, like, I didn't use the word rape. So when I got to that point, the Catholic Church has been, and I kind of stopped myself because I didn't want to say rape because there might have been kids in there. So I said, sexually abusing. And then when they grabbed me and started pushing me, I started saying, "Oh, you want to manhandle me?" I wanted to say, "Get your fucking hands off me," like so badly, but it wasn't until I got pushed out to a secondary church that I started saying. So I got made fun of for saying manhandle, and I never use that word. Anyway, it's crazy, man. It seems like so long ago. Seems like so long ago.
All right. Yeah, and that that one needs to go viral. So let's continue on with this report, man. Hold on here. Let me. All right. So they're basically telling us there are thousands of victims that have no legal recourse. But we are not satisfied by the few charges we can bring, which represent only a tiny percentage of all the child abusers we saw. We are sick over all the crimes that will go unpunished and uncompensated. This report is our only recourse. Well, it's not. There are other things that can be done. We're going to name their names, describe what they did, both the sex offenders and those who concealed them. And by sex offenders, these are unregistered sex offenders. So there's something we can do about that too. And I guess that's why the 100 guys are petitioning the Supreme Court to hide their names. They don't want to be known as what they are, which is pedophiles, sex offenders. But we can do something about that. All right. We are going to shine a light on their conduct because it's what the victims deserve. Now, the victims deserve and the survivors deserve justice. That's what they deserve. So. We're going to make our recommendations for how the laws should change so that maybe no one will have to conduct another inquiry like this one. We hereby exercise our historical and statutory right as grand jurors to inform the public of our findings, which has been since impeded by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, but we're working on it. This introduction will briefly describe the sections of the report that follow. We know it is very long, but the only way to fix these problems is to appreciate their scope. Okay, so the diocese. The section of the report addresses each diocese individually through 2 or more case studies out of the tens or hundreds that provide examples of the abuse that occurred and the manner in which the diocesan leaders managed it. While each church district had its idiosyncrasies, the pattern was pretty much the same. The main thing was not to help children, but to avoid scandal. This is not our word, but theirs. It appears over and over in the documents we recovered. Abuse complaints were kept locked up in a secret archive. That sounds like the Boy Scouts. That is not.
Yeah. I was, you know what? I was just thinking of that. Did that ever get released?
No.
It also sounds like USA Gymnastics. Wasn't that the gymnastics thing too, that they had these secret files that they weren't going to release and they were fighting? I'm pretty sure that was gymnastics also.
Well, and hopefully people are making the mental jump that this is institutional, and it's not just institutional in the Catholic Church, it's institutional everywhere.
Oh yeah. I mean, just insert, it's like insert institution here. I mean, it's all the same. I mean, it's not, nobody's, I mean, they're not even clever.
So that is not our word, secret archive. It's theirs. Okay. The church's code of canon law specifically requires the diocese to maintain such an archive. So it's their law. What about that, Pope? Reformer Pope? I don't hear any changes in canon law coming down. They changed some crap about the death penalty, but maybe your canon law that requires this secrecy that protects abusers, you might want to get on that. So that's their canon law, requires the diocese to maintain such an archive. Only the bishop can have the key. Okay, the strategies. Listen to this. This is just unfucking believable. The strategies were so common that they were susceptible to behavioral analysis by the FBI. For our benefit, the FBI agreed to assign members of its National Center for the Analysis of Violent Crime to review significant portions of the evidence received by the grand jury. Special agents testified before us. They had identified a series of practices that regularly appeared in various configurations in diocesan files they had analyzed. It's like a playbook for concealing the truth.
Gee, I wonder how they all knew were doing the same exact thing. I wonder where they all, learned that.
A playbook for concealing the truth. And this is, they're doing analysis on this like serial killers. And there's no difference. They're just serial rapists. First, okay, here comes the playbook. This is when I had to get up out of the fucking chair and come on here. First, and we've talked about this, Lori Handrahan is one of the major people that have identified this. Make sure to use euphemisms rather than the real words to describe the sexual assaults in diocese documents. Never say rape. Say inappropriate contact or boundary issues. Second, don't conduct a genuine investigation with properly trained personnel. Instead, assign fellow clergy members to ask inadequate questions and then make credibility determinations about the colleagues with whom they live and work. Sounds like the mafia. Third, for the appearance of integrity, the appearance, not actual integrity, the appearance of integrity, send priests for evaluation at church-run psychiatric treatment centers. Allow these experts to diagnose whether the priest was a pedophile based largely on the priest's self-reports and regardless of whether the priest had actually engaged in sexual contact with a child.
John, who wrote this?
The grand jury.
No. I mean, who wrote these rules and lists of who wrote the playbook? Did they ever figure that out?
Yeah, it's taken right out of the records that the grand jury examined.
But they don't know the actual how high this went up.
Oh, well, hell yeah, they do, because the bishop is the one with the key. So
no, I'm saying it's a Pennsylvania playbook.
I bet you it's a worldwide playbook.
Well, all right. I'm just wondering if this came down from like Vatican lawyers or something. I'm just,
I don't know, but you have to assume it's from the highest levels. You know, their administration. You know, the Pope has been aware of this for years, so I'm sure he knew about the playbook. Okay. So, fourth, when a priest does have to be removed, don't say why. Tell his parishioners that he is on sick leave and suffering from nervous exhaustion, or say nothing at all.
Yeah.
Fifth.
It's a real nervous exhaustion.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably.
I mean, they work one fucking day a week.
And I don't know why they're nervous, because they're not getting prosecuted for this. You know, they must know that.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to heaven, aren't they already, John? What are you nervous about?
Yeah. Well, you know, they're God's people, you know. Fifth, even if a priest is raping children, keep providing him housing and living expenses, although he may be using these resources to facilitate more sexual assaults. Let that sink in. Are you seeing why I had to get up out of the chair?
How many are there of these? How long's the playbook?
Looks like there's only one more.
Oh
no, 6. No, there's 2 more. 6th, if a predator's conduct becomes known to the community, don't remove him from the priesthood to ensure that no more children will be victimized. Instead, transfer him to a new location where no one will know he's a child abuser. We knew that.
We need to type these. We need to type these out as memes.
Yeah.
And get these, because you know, including myself, a lot of people are going to read. We need to have these out there.
Have a picture of, you know, the savior of Catholicism, the current Pope, with these from his playbook. And it is his playbook.
Right. It's probably too many to put on one prop, right? So if we just make, what were there, like, like 7 of them, 6, 7 of them?
And I'm Pope Francis's greatest hits.
Okay. So if there's a meme maker out there, you know, grab these and we'll work on these, and we'll share them far and wide.
Here,
the Catholic Church playbook on how to protect pedophiles.
Yeah. And here's the final one. And this is the criminal conspiracy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the criminal conspiracy and the obstruction of justice right here. Finally. And above all, this is great.
And above all.
Than all. This is number 7. This is, you know, this is, don't tell the police. Child sexual abuse, even short of actual penetration, is and has for all relevant times been a crime. But don't treat it that way. Handle it like a personal matter in-house. That's obstruction of justice. That's a criminal conspiracy. All of these are criminal conspiracies. But that right there convicts them in any court in the nation. In a federal, hopefully it'll be a federal court.
So, I mean, at the very, very least, isn't it failure to report? or not failure to report, telling them not, you know, like, geez, oh my God. I don't mean to be laughing about this, but it's like, I'm just not, I mean, I guess I'm like so desensitized anymore that it, like, I mean, it's fucking comical. Can you imagine reading? Can you imagine being, how about, I mean, we're not saying that every priest is a pedophile, obviously, but can you imagine the good priest getting their hands on this and not doing anything?
Well, I still want to talk to that Archbishop in Erie, because he's the only one that showed up, and I think he.
I like to talk to a lot of people. Yeah,
well, we're trying, and this is we're just getting going. And I didn't, you know, until I'm reading this, and this is huge, because this, for whatever it is, and whatever has come out of it so far, this is a documented record by an institution of government, a grand jury, that this shit is going on and it's happening right now. So this is the importance of this can't be.
I gotta start a GoFundMe for a fucking tour bus and just do a tour of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, all the do it on the feet.
I'd love to, just love to go to. Been thinking about going to church more anyway.
Yeah, do it on the feast days. I probably got an old Catholic calendar you can borrow. So right in the first few pages of this report, we have uncovered a criminal conspiracy by the Catholic Church administration to rape children. It's right there in black and white. Do these idiots that tweet "Me Too" can they read? Are they reading this? Yeah, that's why I'm on here reading it. How many people will actually read this?
Well, if we simplify, we get that. I'd like to get that one page. Can you send that page, and at least I can.
Yeah, the Francis's greatest hits. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The playbook.
I mean, if we don't do meme, maybe just get I can PDF it. I could save it and JPEG it, and then
even I know how to copy and paste.
1 through 7.
So yeah. All right. So let's continue. To be sure, we did come across some cases in which members of law enforcement, despite what may have been the diocese, and that's plural, by the way, best efforts, I looked it up, learned of clergy sex abuse allegations. Sounds like Penn State, too. Some of these were many decades ago, and police or prosecutors at the time simply deferred to the church officials. Yeah, you guys handle it. You're obviously doing a great job. So this is police officers. These are local DAs, prosecutors. You guys handle it. You're doing such a great job. Other reports arose more recently, but involved old conduct, and so were quickly rejected on statute of limitation grounds without looking into larger patterns and potential continuing risks. And that's we need to know what the statute of limitations is in every state of the nation for criminal sexual conduct with a minor. Okay. I don't know what that is.
And I have a little bit of info, because most people, if you're not from Pennsylvania, you wouldn't know this. There's a state representative. His name is Mark Rozzi, Rozzi, and you can find him on. I tweeted. Find him on. Yeah, if you he has proposed legislation about what's the word I'm looking for? Getting rid of getting rid of the statute of limitations on child rape. So yeah,
I've got a call and 2 emails into C.T. Wilson. He's the Iraq War veteran, I believe, and survivor of child sexual abuse that fought and beat the Catholic Church to extend the civil statute of limitations in Maryland. So I want to, and from what I understood, there is no criminal statute of limitations on raping a child in Maryland. But that being said, the DA in Baltimore has 180 priests that the Catholic Church has admitted rape children that they haven't done anything with. So,
okay. I'll get this article to you. But please go and follow. I said his name, State Representative Mark Rozzi. I think it's State Rep. I'll get his Twitter handle by tonight. John, I'll send this to you.
Yeah.
Maybe I might be able to pop this into the DM. Oh, you can't post links, right?
You can. Yeah, you can. You can post them in the chat, but I'm not sure how usable they are.
All right. It's just an article about his legislation support.
And those fuckers, the Catholic Diocese of Maryland fought tooth and nail with their lobbyists in the state house to, and there's video on their arguments. I mean, they stand up in public view and tell the people why this is a bad thing. It's all there. It's all out there. So that's an area of concentration, and we're gonna get a playbook on how to obtain justice for these victims. They've got a playbook. We're gonna have ours. One of those things are going to be have the Justice Department do its job and pursue civil rights violations on behalf of these children. Okay. Number 2 is identify these sex offenders and get them on a registry. And number 3 is find out, what in every state of the union, what the statute of limitations criminally is for raping a child. So that's our playbook so far. And we're going to get a lot of help with that. Okay. So you've got the prosecutors and the cops saying, you handle it, Catholic Church. You're doing such a great job. Okay. So we recognize that the victims in these circumstances were understandably disappointed. Disappointed? Are you fucking kidding me? Disappointed? I think it was probably more than disappointment. There was no place they could go to be heard. And I don't think this report has changed that so far. That'll be up to us. But we have heard them, and we'll tell their stories. And Kelly wants you to dress up as a priest when you go. when you do your tour on the feast, the high holy feast days. But at any rate,
she always seems to want me to dress up as a priest. I don't know.
She's got a lot of disguises. The priest is just, and believe me, that would be awesome. Militant priest, just goes nuts. All right. All right. So the grand jury is going to be their voice. Well, you know what? We want them to be their voice. We appreciate the grand jury, but we'd rather hear from them. Okay. We have heard them. We will tell their stories using the church's own records, which will reproduce in the body of the report where appropriate. In the Diocese of Allentown, for example, documents show a priest was confronted about an abuse complaint. He admitted, "Please help me. I sexually molested a boy." The diocese concluded that, quote, "the experience will not necessarily be a horrendous trauma." For who? The victim? That's a quote from the Diocese of Allentown. You got a priest coming to them, "Help me. I sexually molested a boy." The diocese says the experience will not necessarily be a horrendous trauma. Well, we have millions of survivors that would differ with that statement. And that the family should just be given an opportunity to ventilate. What would that be? What in the fuck would be an opportunity of, do you go in to the sacristy with the priest and strangle him, or raise your voice, and as a parent, that's okay? Fuck. The priest was left in unrestricted ministry for several more years, despite his own confession. Similarly, in the Diocese of Erie, despite a priest's admission to assaulting at least a dozen young boys, the bishop wrote to thank him for, quote, "all that you have done for God's people. The Lord, who sees in private, will reward." Well, if that's true, I wouldn't want to be on the end of the reward that dude's getting. Or the bishop, for that matter.
All right. John, why don't we? Oh, you want to keep going?
Oh yeah,
I was just saying. All right, I gotta jump off because I got things to do.
I know you work for a living.
No, I don't have to work.
I'm retired. Yeah. All right.
No,
So we'll see. Howie's coming back at 9.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Kelly's in the chat room. So I got like 10 people watching. So I got some moral support here. So
All right. Can you send me? Well, I'll find that. Well, can you just send me that? What is that, like page 5 or something on the report?
It's all right. I'll find you the page number that I can do.
Please.
Copying and pasting that while I'm reading this. That's not happening. So,
No, it's all right.
let's see. Not that I won't do it at a later time. All right.
I don't even know where to find. I don't even know where to find a report.
Page 3. And just go on
Page 3.
Howie, yeah, go on our Twitter line. it's in the description. It's in the show description of our show tonight, so you can find it there. You can find it on the Twitter line. Jack again has tweeted it out numerous times, so you can find it.
What's up, Jack? If you're here,
I might.
All right, I'm on it.
I might even be able to text it to you if you. I trust you. You can find it.
I'll find it.
Page 3. I know you'll find it. You want to make those memes. I can tell. I want to see them. Pope Francis's top 10 list. Oh, God. Top 10 list on covering up child sexual abuse. So we got 7. We just have to make up 3. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the top 10 list. Pope Francis's top 10 list on covering up child rape. That'll be my.
All right, man.
All right. We'll see it. We'll see it at 9. Love you, bro. Thanks for.
See you tonight. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Howie. All right. So I'm. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you. All right. Let's go on. I'm gonna try to get about another 20 minutes of this. So I'm gonna read to you, and then I'll just have to sit down and sit still and read it. All right. So yeah. So we're seeing a pattern of criminal behavior, criminal conspiracy, and all of these dioceses. The abusers are coming to them. They minimize it. They cover it up, transfer them. We knew that. All right. So yeah, they're gonna give the parents an opportunity to vent. Yeah, if they gave me that opportunity, they it would be an interesting scenario. All right, so we move on. The Diocese of Erie, despite a priest's admission of assaulting at least a dozen young boys. Okay, yeah, we went through that. Yeah, the bishop wrote to thank him. All you've done for God's people, the Lord who sees in private will reward. Another priest confessed to anal and oral rape of at least 15 boys as young as 7 years old. The bishop later met with the abuser to commend him as a person of candor and sincerity, and to compliment him for the progress he has made in controlling his addiction. It sounds like the people trying to normalize pedophilia. It's an addiction. It's a lifestyle. It's a gender. Male attract. Jesus Christ. Where do they get this shit? In the Catholic Church. That's where they get it. It's one of the places. It's an addiction. When the abuser was finally removed from the priesthood years later, the bishop ordered the parish not to say why. Quote, nothing else need be noted. Why would you note a priest that confessed to anal and oral rape of at least 15 boys as young as 7 years old? Nothing else needs to be said. I want that bishop's name. I want to find him. In the Diocese of Greensburg, a priest impregnated a 17-year-old, forged the head pastor's signature on a marriage certificate, then divorced the girl months later, despite having sex with a minor, despite fathering a child, despite being married and being divorced. The priest was permitted to stay in ministry thanks to the diocese's efforts to find a benevolent bishop in another state willing to take him on. Another priest, grooming his middle school students for oral sex, taught them how Mary had to bite off the cord and lick Jesus clean after he was born. It took another 15 years and numerous additional reports of abuse, that means rape, okay, before the diocese finally removed the priest from ministry. A priest in the Diocese of Harrisburg abused 5 sisters in a single family, despite prior reports that were never acted on. In addition to sex acts, the priest collected samples of the girls' urine, pubic hair, and menstrual blood. Eventually, his house was searched and his collection was found. The FBI is doing serial killer research on these people, and that's what they are. But they murder the soul. Eventually, his house was searched and his collection was found. Without that kind of incontrovertible evidence, apparently the diocese remained unwilling to err on the side, even in the face of multiple reports of abuse. As a high-ranking official said about one suspect priest, at this point, we are at impasse, allegations and no admission. Years later, the abuser did admit what he'd done. By then, it was too late. So the cops searched this guy's house. They find this evidence. Is he prosecuted? Are these one of those cases that they said, you guys handle it? Elsewhere, we saw the same sort of disturbing disdain for victims. In the Diocese of Pittsburgh, church officials dismissed an incident of abuse on the grounds that the 15-year-old had pursued the priest. Well, we've heard that before. And literally seduced him into a relationship. After the priest was arrested, the church submitted an evaluation on his behalf to the court. The evaluation acknowledged that the priest had admitted to sadomasochistic activities with several boys, but the sadomasochism was only mild and the priest was not psychotic. And these are just a couple of case studies from these 6 dioceses. A couple. There are thousands of these children, people. Thousands. The Diocese of Scranton also chose to defend its clergy abusers over its children. A diocese priest was arrested and convicted after decades of abuse reports that had been ignored by the church. The bishop finally took action only as the sentencing date approached. He wrote a letter to the judge with a copy to a state senator urging the court to release the defendant to a Catholic treatment center. He emphasized the high cost of incarceration. In another case, a priest raped a girl, got her pregnant, and arranged an abortion. The bishop expressed his feelings in a letter. This is a very difficult time in your life, and I realize how upset you are. This is a fucking rapist he's writing this to. I too share your grief. But the letter wasn't for the girl, it was addressed to the rapist. So those are just a few case studies. Please get this report, read it to your family, read it to your friends. I would think Catholics would tear down the administration of that church after reading this. because there are a lot of good people that are Catholics. Every one of them needs to read that. They should make a copy of this report and circulate it at Sunday services. If you're a Catholic, you can do that. So that's just the beginning of that report. So I'll probably read it a little quicker if I just do it on my own. And maybe we'll have more of these. Maybe we'll have a marathon and read the whole horror show. But thanks, you guys. Share this out. Join us tonight. This is huge, and as bad as it is, it's probably the best opportunity that we've had to get something really done, which is put people in jail. That's something real. This report, speaking for the survivor, hopefully survivors will read this report and come forward en masse. The Vatican, the Pope has done nothing to substantially change this. And I guarantee it's still going on right now, right as we're speaking. Right as we are talking right now, there is some child being raped, probably many, by a Catholic priest. So share it out. I'm going to continue reading, dig down into it, and we're going to use this as a big stick to beat this issue over the head and get some justice for these survivors. So thank you, guys. We'll see you at 9. Back at you, Cindy, Kelly, Harold, everybody that joined us. Selma, thank you. And thank you for sharing this burden for the time that you were here. So it's time for me to man up and go read it on my own and try not to break anything in the house. So we'll see you at 9. And we got to remember, this is a good thing. I mean, overall, this is a good thing. This is documented legal information coming out, and that is the start of putting an end to this. So we'll see you at 9, guys. Thank you.